Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, and this is your Game 4 Celtics Heat Best Bets episode. As the Boston Celtics down 3-0 on the road, trying to avoid the sweep, and the Miami Heat try and make their second finals in 4 seasons. Absolutely incredible run by this Heat team as an 8 seed. Unbelievable performance. We'll talk about it. We'll break down the best bets. We'll give you all sorts of information that you need. Everything we talk about can be found in the award-winning Action Network app. The best way for you to track your picks. You get up-second information where the bets and money are coming in on. You check out our Green Dot Daily, our daily show, giving you your betting agenda. You can check out all the great podcasts on all the other sports. Can we transition into baseball? We want to start listening to our baseball podcast. All sorts of awesome stuff. Check that out in the Action Network app. Joining me to give best bets for Celtics Heat Game 4, we got Albert Wynn, the analytics capper, back with us. Glad to see AC back in the house, as well as Brandon Anderson, NBA futures analyst, who I podcasted with now. I think this is like our 1,000th episode or something, Brandon. It's just been, we've done a lot of podcasts together. We just did one last night. It's not actually our 1,000th. It's like, I don't know. We're in the hundreds. So Game 4 between the Celtics and Heat, the books have finally relented. They have finally made the Miami Heat a favorite. It only took them absolutely pantsing the Boston Celtics in Game 4. The Heat opened 1.5. This popped up to 3. I saw in the market on Sunday night. I saw 3 in the market. It's back down to 1.5. And honestly, and it's a soft 1.5 too. At FanDuel, I have bet it. It's minus 108, minus 1.5. So I probably could have waited and grabbed a 1, but I don't mind it because I don't know if you know this, Brandon, but when a team wins in the NBA playoffs, they tend to cover as a favorite up to 80% of the time, according to the Matt Mitchell stat this season, going back the last 3 seasons. We'll go around the table. We'll give our best bets for this episode for this game. Brandon's got a series prop we'll do at the end. We're going to talk about the side up front, and we got some tasty props in the middle. So nice little sandwich for you on best bets episode. We'll go around the table. Let's start with Brandon Anderson. Brandon, what are your best bets for Game 4?
Well, guys, I wanted to just give out the Jaylen Brown over 2.5 turnovers and call it a day. Just give as much effort on this podcast as the Boston Celtics are in the series. But I am not coached by Joe Mozzarella, so I will play that one. But I've got more bets for you. Marcus Smart over 9.5 rebounds and assists. And I'm going to go a similar bet that you had, Matt, on the game playing tonight and Monday as we record. I'm going to take an either team by 24 or more. So it's Boston 22-1, Miami 18-1 on alternate lines. Again, an implied 942 on that. And then last one, because I got to have 4 bets, got to have a little fun. Under 2.5 Game 7s in the playoffs at minus 120.
All right, Albert Wynn, what's your best bet for Game 4?
Yeah, it's a series for all intents and purposes is over, right? 3-0. I actually lean Boston in Game 4. I think I'm opposite with you there, Matt, but I'm going to go with a player prop here. I'm going to go with Tatum over 30.5 points. I'll get to my reasons why, but in a non-blowout situation, he's had 30 points in both 1 and 2. Obviously, Game 3 was a different game.
I'm going to keep it simple. Miami Heat, minus 1.5. That's it. Miami Heat, minus 1. No complicated stuff. No big prop angles. The Heat are going to win the game and sweep the Celtics. Like, let's just keep it simple. And Albert and I can debate that in a minute. Let's go ahead and do that. So here's the number that I pulled last night, which I think is very important. Road teams down 0-3 and lost by 20 or more in Game 3 are 2-12 straight up in Game 4 since 2003. Spoiler alert. When you get housed by 20, you know the jig is up. Now, if we break this into further rounds, the trend gets obviously more noisy because of a smaller sample, but it also gets less strong. And that makes sense because like you're going to see tougher teams, right, in those kind of spots. I can't get over what I saw from Boston. There were signs of the Milwaukee Bucks all year that there were problems. We talked about, like I wrote about it in January, right? And it's one of the reasons I wasn't really ever strong on Milwaukee after. Like, even when they got good and were the 1 seed, like I was talking about betting the Celtics team. There were some signs with this Boston Celtics team, and I ignored them. So I ignored some of the conversation about Jaylen Brown, his unhappiness in Boston. I ignored that the defense, even though it statistically improved over the back half of the season, always seemed a little suspect. I ignored their over-reliance on three-pointers as a means to victory. And guess what? If you're hitting threes at an absurd 40% clip or more consistently in all these games that you're winning, guess what you're also doing? You're also playing better defense because the opponent's not getting transition or mid-transition looks. High correlation there. I ignored that the Boston Celtics went to 6 games with the Atlanta Hawks, and I'm like, well, look, it's the Celtics. They're going to screw around. It's fine. I ignored that they went 7 with the Sixers, which was one more than I thought they would go, because I was like, well, okay, Embiid was out the first game. They lost 1 game to them, and they screwed around twice, and they lost 1 game to the Sixers. It makes sense they went 7. I ignored all that. Team's broken. Like, they're broken. And like, can they come back in the series if the Heat stop shooting the lights out? Sure, absolutely, entirely possible. But I think that you have to believe that you can do it. And there's at this point, the weight of 3-0 is in itself a factor in these games that you're like, even if we win this game, we got to win game 5. And even if we win that one, we got to come back down here and we got to win game 6. And then we got to go back home and we got to win game 7. And when a team has just kicked your ass the way that the Celtics have in these 3 games, I think it's very difficult. I do not see a team together. I do not see a team connected. I see no reason to think that the Heat actually are going to regress to the mean. And honestly, that's a reason to start betting the Heat to win the NBA Finals. They're just going to shoot like this the rest of the way, which I'm not going to say that they're not. I don't know. I can't predict shooting variance. But I will go ahead and I'll lay the 1.5 of the Heat based off of that historical trend and based off of the fact that all of the things that would require a game 4 performance are things that the Celtics have simply not shown me at any point in the series. If you say, like, they just came back from 3-2 versus the Sixers. Yeah, congrats on beating Doc and beating Harden. Now you got to do it versus Jimmy on the road. Good luck to you. Heat minus 1.5. Brandon, give me the cap on 24 plus.
It's a similar cap to what you gave out for the other game, Matt, for game 4 of the other series, which is, I just think, I don't know what happens in this game. I don't know if Boston shows up or not. I don't know if Boston shows up or not for any game ever anymore, I guess. I know Miami shows up, but either way, both these teams shoot 1 billion threes, and Boston hasn't made any of them yet. They're under 35% all 3 games. They're going to look really bad when that happens. We know this. They're 0-5 now in the playoffs when that happens. What if it doesn't happen? What if Boston makes 45% of their threes or 50%, like Miami has done, 50% in 2 of the 3? I am basically betting on shot variance going wildly in one direction, which it has often when these teams played, and betting on one team to let go of the rope. If I had to be honest, probably Boston. Probably I would pick Boston to let go of the rope. If I had to pick one of them, we just watched it happen. But I'm not going to pick. I'll just play both. Why 24 plus? Well, it's a great question. Glad you asked. It's the highest number I can get on FanDuel. I just want the highest number and the highest odds. That's it. Boston has had 3 games with 24-point margin already in the playoffs. Obviously, they just did that in game 3. Miami has 3 of 19 or more. I know Miami games tend to be a little closer, but 24 plus is just me betting on one team hits a barrage of threes, and either Miami's like, all right, whatever, you made some shots. That's cute. That's cute. Thanks for trying. We'll get you next game. Or it goes the other way like we just saw. That's it. I want no part of either side. I don't know what's going to happen. I just think that I won't be paying too much attention to this game by the second half, except I will now, because what better way to end this terrible Eastern Conference Finals than sweating out a garbage time 24-point cover for an 18-1 or 22-1 hit. Let's do it.
Out of the 52 games where a team has been down 3-0 after losing by game 3 by 20 or more, that's home and road. 4 of those games have ended in a margin of 24 or less. So the numbers are not great there. However, I'm going to look this up right now. If we're just talking about teams down 0-3 in the series, how many times has game 4 been a margin of 24 or more? 37 times, much greater out of a much larger sample. So in that game 4 spot.
By the way, real quick, if you want the numbers here, you're playing at FanDuel. So I took the highest line I can get both sides on. It's an implied plus 942 getting both. If you like the idea, but I want to get quite aggressive, 20 plus either way, you get a plus 517 on that. 15 or more win either way is a plus 268. I don't know. I could have done the math on, does it end up in 15 to 23? I didn't run that math. I just ran the give me the high hit, and I'm probably playing like a quarter unit on both. But Pick a number you like, go for broke.
Okay, let's get to the props. Well, first, AC, let's talk about this. Why do you like Boston in this spot?
Yeah, so you guys know I don't really look into trends at all. That they are great in terms of finding patterns and helping confirm certain things, but there are two big thresholds that meet my eye when it comes to not really backing Boston, but fading Miami. One, I don't like short home favorites ever in any sport. That's one rule that I just don't bet at all. And then the other thing is coming off a blowout, I like the team that gets blown out in general to cover the spread. That's more of an NFL principle, but I've been implementing that into basketball as well. It's been pretty good. Again, I'm most likely not going to be on the side. I'm just going to be on the Tatum prop if you want me to get into that now.
Okay. So you still don't like Boston enough to bet them here? Just because, I mean, one, you're not getting a very good number, right? So
correct. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
I mean, I would not do Miami. So it's one of those things where it's Boston or nothing, and in this case, it's nothing.
Sure. Okay. Hit me with the prop that you like for this game.
Yeah, so Jason Tatum, he's getting, killed in the media right now. He's had a terrible fourth quarter in this series. But if you look at his games from a global perspective, game one, he had 30 and 7, only 17 shots. That's pretty good efficiency. That's 53%, 9 of 17 from the field. Game two, obviously they lost by 6 points, but he had 34 in that game. He only took 20 shots. And again, pretty good efficiency. He's terrible right now from the 3-point line. He's chucking 3-point shots, and I think he's settling. He's seeing Jimmy in front of him, and he knows he can't take Jimmy to the hole, so he's just settling for the 3-point shot. But I think from a volume perspective tonight, most likely their last game, or maybe their second to last game of the season, you're going to look at two guys, right? Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. I think Tatum is the more talented. He's going to be the number one option on the majority of these possessions. So I like Tatum to get that 30-point number. The actual line is 30.5. And I do like the over there just because of opportunities.
I can't really identify much of like what Miami's doing to disrupt him. He's just not playing well. Like I don't, there's not like a lot here that I think like, wow, they really, put the clamps on Tatum. Him and Jaylen Brown can't hit water if they fell out of a boat. They just look.
Yeah.
Again,
do you think Tatum's not playing well or not shooting well?
Yeah, that is a nice distinction. I mean, I would caveat by saying the first two games, even though he had 30, he had both of those 30-point games in basically 3 quarters. The fourth quarters, he was non-existent in both 1, 2, and 3. He didn't play in 3 at all. So I think from a point perspective, he's getting there. He's rebounding the ball really well. I think he's averaging 10 or 10.5 rebounds per game in these 3 games, which is actually pretty impressive if you consider the fact that he's not playing in the fourth quarter that much. As far as playing well, we know he's not a great playmaker, so he's not going to elevate his teammates. You guys can debate me on that. I think he's more of a pure scorer, and if his 3-point shooting is off, and it's been off these first 3 games, he's just not as effective. So yeah, he's shooting poorly, but I guess he's playing average. He's not playing all NBA caliber.
I don't think he's a high-level playmaker. I think he's good. I think he's above average, and I think that he's been bad in that area in the series. I think he's like there's an impact factor that he just hasn't had. He's just been kind of out there getting empty points. There's a lot of players that are putting up big scoring totals that aren't very impactful. So like I think that's something to kind of consider. I would not say that Tatum has played well, but they also can be reductive where it's like, why? Well, they lost, right? Like if they win, like, oh man, what a game from Tatum. So you can kind of view it. I will say that like I've seen great Tatum games where I feel like he's impacting the defense at all 3 levels. That's my favorite thing about Tatum is he can hit you with all 3 levels of scoring, and it doesn't feel like that. And a lot of that honestly has to do with the coaching in this series. Okay, Brandon. 30 seconds. Vase hands.
Go vase hand, take the over on turnovers, just keep playing it all the way. I want to use this as a commentary on, so the juice is minus 145 here. And a lot of times I play almost no bets that are minus 145, right? But props are a little different. That is literally saying 59% implied to hit this prop. We have the numbers. He's hit this 11 out of 16 games, 69%. Nice. So 69% hit, 59% implied. Don't let juice scare you away. Vase hands turns it over. He's done this time and time again. Play base hand. Marcus Smart, rebounds and assists, 9.5 over on that one. This is one I talked about in my game 3 card. A thing that I've noticed about Marcus Smart, you guys probably have seen this as well. When the Celtics have their backs against the wall, when they are trailing in a series and they need somebody to show up, Smart is like the one dude on that team I know is showing up that night. I know for better and often for worse, I know Marcus Smart is going to try that night. I know he's going to bring it. And I don't know if either Jay wants to be in this game or wants to extend the series, but I know Marcus Smart is going to try. So this is a Marcus Smart tries stat. I got rid of the points. I had points in there last time. He's just not shooting the ball that much this series. He's not taking many attempts. So I just got rid of that. He did hit the PRA over, but it was mostly because he had 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Here's the numbers. Last 2 playoffs, so last year and this year, facing elimination, sorry, not facing elimination. When Boston trails in a series, there's 8 games. He's at 5.9 rebounds versus 4.1 in all the other playoff games. And he's at 7 assists versus 5.5 in all the other games. We're just getting more Marcus Smart here. 9.5 is too low. His rebound plus assist is 12.9 when Boston is trailing the series. So just running it back, something that we did in game 3.
Are you worried at all you're not going to get the minutes necessary to get here?
I don't think so, because I like Marcus. That's another thing, is his minutes go up pretty high. So
if it's Heat 24 plus, he may not play in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, if it's Heat 24 plus, then I already hit an 1800. So I don't really care about Marcus Smart losing one. I mean, like, look, that's a joke, but it's not really a joke. Like when you're building a card, you kind of are saying like, well, you can't hit everything here, but if you hit one end of a long thing, then maybe you lose this one, but it evens out. So
yeah, I want to double click on Brandon's point. So I fully agree with him in terms of building a card. That's how you should handicap each day, to be honest. But on the Marcus Smart front, don't you guys see that he's just gonna be like, F you guys, Joe Mazzulla, F you, Joe. This is potentially our last game together as a core. I'm going to go down with my boys. So that's going to be the Jays, probably Horford. So I see Smart playing and ending the game winner, whether it's a blowout or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I see the fourth quarter white flag, even in whatever. Like,
I think Joe might be sitting down,
there.
but the Celtics players are still going to be in there.
Oh God, that'd be embarrassing. Yeah, I'll probably tell him this. This is a good cap. I like the numbers on him in elimination games. That's a very strong.
It's trailing the series. I misspoke. Not elimination games. This one is, but it's when Boston is down in the series.
Okay. All right. So Brandon, you got one more for us. Under 2.5 game sevens in the playoffs. Hit me.
Yeah. So you know me, I'm just scrolling through apps looking for what lines we got out there. So under 2.5 game sevens. Basically, what that means is no more game sevens, right? We have 2 so far. We had Warriors Kings. We had Celtics Sixers. So this is a bet on no more game sevens at -120. So here's the math for you. I don't think we're getting a game 7 this round. I don't think many of us think we are. My numbers say 11% chance that the Celtics series gets to game 7, 8% that the Lakers game gets there. So the math is 81% that neither one goes game 7. Okay. So we're at -120 to go under 2.5 game sevens. That means basically I need a 67% chance or better of no game 7 in the finals. That's the bet that I'm making here. And that's a bet that I'm happy to make. I don't think that we're going to go game 7 in the finals. We're obviously looking at Nuggets Heat. Spoiler alert. I will like the Nuggets in that series and not in 7 games. But finals don't go 7 games. We've had 2 since 2010. We've had 4 since 1994. That was the O.J. Simpson interruption finals. That's 4 in the last 3 decades. We don't get a lot of game 7s in the finals. We get teams that are tired and one team that shows it's better. I just think it's a good bet to say no more game 7s. I don't think any of us think we're getting one this round, and I don't think this final shapes up like a game 7 situation either. So you want to bet that one as you're listening, hopefully today on Monday. You want to bet that one right away, because obviously if by the time you listen, one of the other series is over, this number will have moved a little bit. So I like the under game 7, under 2.5 game 7s.
All right. So to recap, Brandon likes under 2.5 game sevens in the playoffs, -120. Either team to win game 4 by 24 plus, Boston plus 2,200, Miami plus 1,800. That's an implied plus 942. Marcus Smart over 9.5 rebounds, assists, -121. Jaylen Brown over 2.5 turnovers for base hands, -145. AC's got Tatum over 30.5 points. He's got to lean towards the Boston Celtics because he hates trends. I've got the Miami Heat because I like trends. And I think that the teams tend to follow patterns. And I think that's because of the psychological impact of how these series go. So I'll take the Heat -1.5. You can catch all these picks in the Action Network app. But thanks to David Payne, our producer. Make sure to keep it here. Regardless of outcome of game 4, as we're recording this on Monday afternoon between Lakers and Nuggets, we will have an episode tomorrow, either looking ahead from a Denver perspective or looking forward to a game 5 between the Nuggets and the Lakers. We'll check you out then. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys again next time. Until then, let's get buckets.